ALLSCAPE 26" by 4" fat tires. And we also have the Ultraverse 26" by 4" fat tires. We're going to compare the two tires. I suspect that these two tires come out of the same factory. Let's compare them and see if there's actually a difference between the two tires. Up first, we have the ALLSCAPE tires. These two tires are made to fit inside this one box right here that you see in front of you. So what's not mentioned in the listing for the ALLSCAPE tires is the fact that it comes with two inner tubes. Well, I can't say that it's a fact because it's not listed. So when you order your ALLSCAPE tires, you may not get these inner tubes, but a lot of the reviews, pretty much all of the reviews, there were people saying thank you for the free gift of the inner tubes that fit these tires. So you can probably expect to get free inner tubes with your purchase of the ALLSCAPE tires. So typically when you purchase a fat bike, your fat bike will come with these type of tires from Chaoyang. There may be another manufacturer, maybe CST or something like that. But nonetheless, the tires that typically come on most budget friendly or mid-range bikes with fat tires, 26" by 4" tires, would come with those type of tires. Now, these tires from Ultraverse, they're pretty heavy, a lot heavier than the tires that I just showed you from Chaoyang. They even have a directional indicator on the side of the tire indicating which direction you need to install the tires. The direction the wheel is spinning, that's the direction you want that arrow on the side of the tire to be pointing after you've installed the tire. Now, the thickness of the tire is significantly more than the Chaoyang tires, so getting a puncture with a Chaoyang tire would be easy versus the ALLSCAPE tire. You can actually feel there's actually extra padding right there in that tread area, which would make it a lot more difficult for something to puncture this tire. And actually, I should be seeing extra reinforcement, not padding, because you don't want padding in your tire, but that tire feels like it's reinforced a little bit more in the area where the tread is versus the Chaoyang tire. So ALLSCAPE tires for the win 100% right here. Well, at least when comparing it against the Chaoyang tires that come on your bike. So moving on to the Ultraverse tires. These tires look pretty much identical to the ALLSCAPE tires. Now, they're packaged in the box the same way. The box is a little bit wider. And these tires come with two metal tire installation tools. You don't get free inner tubes with these tires, unfortunately, but you do get these handy dandy metal installation tools. But you do want to be careful when using a metal installation tool. There is the possibility that you can damage or scratch your rim when using a metal installation or removal tool. So if we actually put the tires next to each other and compare the Ultraverse tires versus the ALLSCAPE tires, you can clearly see that there is not much difference between the way the treads look. The only visual difference that you may notice is that the ALLSCAPE tires has a slight bit more of a sheen to it. That's the tire on the right there, that one has a little bit of a sheen versus the Ultraverse. The Ultraverse is a little bit more on the flat side, more flat black versus the ALLSCAPE. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that one tire is better than the other because these tires do feel identical. Now, one other difference is the outer tread pattern. You can see that has a checkered pattern on every single one of the lugs. But when we look at the Ultraverse tire does not have that same checkered pattern on every single one of the lug. It's on every other lug. That is actually the only difference in the way these tires look. It's the sheen, the slight sheen that the ALLSCAPE has versus the more flatter look that the Ultraverse has, and the checkered pattern around the circumference on the edge of the Ultraverse tire versus the ALLSCAPE tire. So looking at the inside of the Chaoyang tires will give you an insight as to the quality of the tire. As you take a look at the inside, that does not look like a car's tire. That right there, the Ultraverse tire, or maybe that's the ALLSCAPE, it don't matter, they're built the same way. But if you look at the inside, that looks like the same way a car tire is built. If you Google the inside of a car tire and you look at that pattern, it will be almost identical to the way the Ultraverse and the ALLSCAPE tires are built. But when you compare and contrast that to the Chaoyang, that tire is so much thinner, so much easier. You can see that it flexes very easy compared to the ALLSCAPE and the Ultraverse. So that should tell you a lot right there about the way these tires are built. Now, the ALLSCAPE and the Ultraverse tires are a bit heavier, so there's a possibility that it may slow you down a little bit. But the rolling resistance on these tires is less because the tire is stiffer and made of a harder compound. It's going to feel a little bit different, but you won't catch flats like you would normally catch with those thinner Chaoyang tires. That's definitely a good thing. That means more riding and less fixing.